What's up, YouTube? Rob here, Old City Vapor, with another story for Weird Wednesday. So, I used to fish quite a bit. A long time ago, I was pretty much considered a commercial fisherman, I guess you could say, because I used to fish somewhat for a living, pretty much fished every day. And I would go out in my boat and sometimes be out all day long. Uh, and a lot of times I would go and fish at night and hit the water like, 10, 11, 12, midnight, whatever. Stay out all night. And depending on what I caught in the day, or what type of fish were running or how, what I was fishing for at the time, a lot of times I would go at night. And most of the time I would fish north of the St. Augustine Inlet in the Intercoastal Waterway. And I knew the waterway back then like the back of my hand. I mean, I just, wow, never knew that was there. Anyway, uh, I pretty much knew the waterway really good and was totally comfortable being out, even by myself at night. Not a problem. And a matter of fact, a lot of times, like if it got real foggy or something, I would just anchor up somewhere, in a safe spot and open up my dry well, pull out a blanket or something, and just crash out for a while, wait for the fog to lift, and then either go fish some more or go home, whatever, depending on how many fish I had. Pretty much back then would always come home with fish and take them to the market or to a restaurant and sell them and pay some bills. Anyway, like I say, I used to fish north of the St. Augustine Inlet, but I would also go down south, probably, I don't know, 10, 12 miles. I don't know, never measured it. Just estimating, south of the St. Augustine Inlet, there's another inlet called Matanzas Inlet. And Matanzas Inlet has weird noises, and always happens when I'm the only one here. Um, Matanzas Inlet has its own kind of weird, creepy history. Way back, like in the 1500s, early 1600s, um, there was quite a lot of activity around the inlet area, with the Indians, the Spanish, and the French starting to show up. And of course, the Indians they were the locals. They were the ones that were there. They were the ones that got the poopy end of the stick most of the time. But the Spaniards came in and they tried to be friends with the Indians, for the most part. But basically, at the same time, said, "You guys go move over there. We're taking over this area, but we'll trade with you, and we'll be friends." And then the French started showing up, and that they thought they were coming in, and Spaniards didn't really want to deal with them. So basically, they would just kill them in a roundabout way. They would meet a lot of people, a lot of Frenchmen at the inlet area, go out, confront them, whatever. If some of them were stranded, kind of south of the inlet, they went out there, got them, brought them back, got them around the corner of the inlet, and would kill them. So if you look up the word matanza, it's the Spanish word matanza. It's basically in English is translated to slaughter. So that's kind of how Matanzas Inlet got its name. And a few times I would be out fishing down there. Two times in particular that I remember. One, I had a friend out in the boat with me, and a couple other times actually, I would be by myself. And one night I was with my friend in the boat. We were flounder gigging. If you don't know what flounder gigging is, you basically have a long pole with a 2 or 3 prong spear on the end, a gig, and you would look for flounder up in the shallow, along the bank with lights at night, see them and stick them, hopefully in the head so you don't mess up them tasty fillets. But we'd do a lot of that. And cruising along one night up in the shallows, crystal clear water. And at night, you hear, even though it'd be like 3 o'clock in the morning, it's, quiet, but you still hear plenty of nature's sounds, whether it's the water lapping up, in the oyster shells on the bank, wind rustling through the marsh grass, you know, animals, coons, possums, whatever, cruising around up in the shells in the marsh, looking for stuff to eat. You would still hear, quite a bit of noise out there. And there was a couple of times, just one night in particular, we're cruising along, and this happened a few times. It would just go total, just dead silent. You wouldn't hear nothing. It would just be like somebody took the volume and just slammed it to the off position. You would hear absolutely nothing. And a couple of times when that happened, one night in particular, when my friend was out in the boat with me, that happened. We're cruising along. We were actually sticking a lot of fish and excited about it. And all of a sudden, he was like, "You notice it's really quiet all of a sudden?" I'm like, "Yeah." So this has happened before up here. And he he's like, "I'm going to grab a drink." And he went to the back of the boat. And I'm up in the front, cruising along, looking for fish. And I thought I heard him say something, and I kind of turned around, and he was still in the back of the boat, digging through his snack box or lunch box, whatever you want to call it. And I'm just like, hearing things, cruising along, and all of a sudden I kind of hear it again, and I feel a hand on my back, like right on the back on my shoulder. And it kind of pushes me forward a little bit. Turning around, I'm like, "What the hell are you doing, trying to push me off the boat?" And I realize he's still in the back of the boat. So now I'm really kind of wondering what's going on. He comes back up, and I'm like, "Did you just shove me?" And he's like, "What are you talking about?" We talked about it for a minute, and he thought I was crazy, and I kind of thought I was crazy. So we're cruising along. We get up probably another, I don't know, 1,000 feet ahead of us or so. And he's on the bow of the boat, so am I. And we're just cruising along, sticking a fish here and there, putting them in the boat, cruising along. And all of a sudden I see him like go forward, and he's like, "What?" And he looks at me, and I'm like, "Dude, it wasn't me." He got the same thing. He said that it felt like somebody had a hand right in the middle of his back. He could feel a warm hand on his back, and it pushed him forward. And he swore it was me, but it wasn't. And, nobody wants to actually get shoved out of the boat. And then I was out one time by myself, and pretty much the same thing happened, almost in that same exact spot. Cruising along, sticking fish. I'm excited. I'm pulling in dollar bills here and there, here and there. That's all I'm thinking about at the time. And all of a sudden I realized, here's that creepy quietness again. And I would swear that I heard voices coming from the bank, and it was like whispering type voices. Couldn't understand what they were saying because it was almost like it was a different language. And after I thought about it, when I got back in, when I thought about what I heard, I would almost swear that it sounded like Indian, some sort of, Indian language or something. And it was real faint, but I could hear it, and it sounded like a couple of people like whispering, these whispery voices coming from the bank, and really still gives me chicken skin right now thinking about it. And the same exact thing happens. I hear those voices, and I'm kind of creeped out. A few minutes later, I feel a hand on my back kind of pushing me, like wanting to push me off the front of the boat. And that night in particular, I was creeped out to the point where I was just like, screw it, I'm out of here. Sometimes things happen and it's just like a sign to leave, and that was one of them. And yeah, I came back in that night, and I got off the water and loaded my boat up and went home and thought about what had just happened, and it was pretty weird. Um, don't know how to explain it. Did it really happen? Well, according to me, it did. I'm sure people can come up with explanations. Maybe it was all my imagination, but I don't know. Don't know how to explain it. Don't know what I heard. Don't know what they were saying. And but I definitely felt a hand on my back on a couple of different occasions. And the one night that my friend was out in the boat with me, he felt the same thing, and freaked him out. He was definitely not into it because he didn't understand anything that was going on after that happened, and it was pretty strange. So there you go, another weird story, something to think about. Was it perhaps Indians, or maybe Spanish, or some Frenchmen, some pissed off Frenchmen because they got whacked in the Slaughter Inlet area? I don't know. Didn't sound French. If I think about it, the best I could tell, it sounded like an Indian type language. I don't know. I have some Indian in me, so maybe that's why they didn't shove me off the boat. Maybe they were like, yeah, no, maybe he's okay. Who knows? That's it. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. I'll talk to you guys later. Hit the subscribe button, the like button. I got plenty more stories coming, and we'll talk to you guys later on. Have a great day, evening, night, morning, whatever time you're watching this, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.